Hey guys, welcome to tonight's class. Dave Santarelli here. It's April 27th. It's about 8:49 p.m. I wanted to do tonight's class, go over protecting capital, protecting the profits that we had this week. We're going to go over the big upcoming week in tech earnings, and we're going to be going over the inflation that's going to be hitting the shelves in a few weeks here. We have Timo and Sheen that already announced this weekend that they're increasing prices. And those big ships coming from China into California ports are going to be arriving in a couple of more weeks here, and we're going to see that 100 and what is it, 47% tariffs hit the shelves there, and that's going to cause panic and fear. Now, here's the other thing about that. Jerome Powell has a Fed meeting coming up. I think if Powell cuts rates, I think Trump's going to be a little bit more lenient there on those tariffs because he knows that's going to impact the economy and the markets there. So it's going to be very important to watch over the next several weeks here. Number one, this week we have big tech earnings. It's the Super Bowl of tech earnings this week, and we'll be going over that. And then Trump this weekend. The reason why we were talking about this weekend, he confirmed that he's going through with the tariffs with China, and we're going to have to wait it out there. He said he's not going to make any deal until he has a great deal. So let's go over and see first off what the futures are doing. Right now, we have the Dow down about 132 points. We have the S&P down about 24, and we have the Nasdaq down about 108 points right now. Russell's down about 22. We're seeing down here oil, gas getting a little bit of a climb there. Gold is climbing, and then we're coming over here and we're seeing U.S. stock futures fall ahead a big week for tech earnings. And so now if we go over tech earnings, here are the big tech earnings this week. Okay, now these are going to be the first important ones coming up. Tomorrow it's a pretty relaxed open. Obviously, Domino's Pizza, MGM, those are going to be big ones in the morning there. I think Domino's is going to beat. Usually when inflation picks up and the consumer's a little tighter on spending, usually, cheaper pizza places do very well, when the markets pull back. So it's going to be interesting to see how that trend is going into earnings there for Domino's. And then obviously MGM, we're going to see how the consumer is spending there at the casinos. After hours there, we got Waste Management. That typically holds up pretty well, gets a decent climb there. It's something that, like everyone needs. They're not going to stop paying their sewer, garbage, and all those types of bills there. We go down Nucor. We got FFIV. I mean, obviously those are going to be good ones right there to keep an eye on. Waste Management. Tuesday before open, we got SoFi, we got PayPal, UPS, JetBlue, Royal Caribbean. We got Coca-Cola, Pfizer, Spotify, Altria. We got Visa after the close, Starbucks, Snapchat. I love Snapchat. I'd love to pick up some of the shares there after that large pullback. We got First Solar, Booking, PPG. Let's see here. Humana, that's going to play a big role in our UNH, United Health, Caterpillar, Western Digital coming up, International Paper, Hess, Etsy, Microsoft. I mean, we got some big names there coming up after the bell on Wednesday. It's really all those over here. Tuesday morning's going to be a big day. Big day there for Tuesday morning. That's going to play a big role on what's going to shape what type of shape the week's going to be looking like there. Eli Lilly, then we got Roblox, CVS, McDonald's, Siri, MasterCard, BLDR. That's one that we love watching, but the builders have been pretty tough lately. Moderna. We got Amazon, Apple, Riot, Reddit, Airbnb after the bell on Thursday. And then Friday, we have our normal typical gas and oils earnings. So it's a big week this week, very big week. So that's the earnings this week. That's what I'm going to be watching for. These are the main core ones here that I'll be looking at. We also have where's the one? BBAI. We got some AI stocks coming up as well, which I'm going to be going over here. But AIG, Roku, Twilio, and we got a lot of big names coming up. So it's a big week for earnings. So make sure you guys have that in mind. And let's go over the markets now in the futures. Right now, SPY, as we just saw there, SPY's at about 548, so it's not down too much there. It's down about a 0.5%. We just got the 1020 crossover, the MACD crossover on SPY. Trump reiterated and stressed that he is going through with the tariffs on China. I think that's going to put a little bit of heat on the markets early on in the week, and then follow through with how tech earnings report this week. So, if we could continue that breakout, I was going over this in the trade room earlier. See, this is where we topped out. This was our highs. That's going back to SPY there, February. Where were we at there? Yeah, end of February there, we were at the highs, and then we started pulling back. We started that BDM cycle here. 1020 cross below, moving average convergence divergence cross below, trading below zero line on the histogram of the MACD there, and we continued that pullback. We had a sharp retracement. We got up to that blue 20-day simple moving average, which is our previous, can't draw a straight line there, which is our previous support. So this was support. Now it's acting as resistance as we go up. So now this here is resistance. We got up to resistance. We failed. We pulled back, got back up to that blue 20. A little bit of news that came out, failed, rejected, pulled all the way down to 480 on SPY. We got that climb right here on this day when we had that big reversal. I said, guys, if we hold that 510, we're going to break out here. We had a massive breakout. We climbed. This was the day that Trump said buy the market. And then again, we pulled back, came down. I said once again, if we hold, that is now, here's a low. And then right here was a higher low. So that's what helped us confirm that breakout here off of support off of that 480. We took advantage of puts to the downside here, capitalized, profited on the pullback. Then we started breaking out, and you guys know we've been having a hell of a past 2 weeks here trading the market to the upside. So where do we go from here now? That's the important question that everyone's asking. So now this is what it's looking like. Here's our high. Here's a lower high, LH, and then here's another LH, lower high, as we're continuing that pullback right here. So, that's what we have to watch for right now. What I want to see to confirm that next breakout is a breakout on SPY above 550. If we get a breakout again above 550, I think we're going to get up towards that 575 again on SPY, and we'll trade it to the upside there with some short-term calls on SPY. We just got into some Q calls here. We're doing very well with those. We just got into these trades on Friday here. These trades are looking great. We got into the Q calls, the Reddit calls, and the Google calls. Google calls down a little bit right there. And then we got the Qs and the Reddit. And I love those. Those are looking great. And then obviously in our shares, we picked up some of the TSLL. We also picked up some Amazon shares about a week ago. JEPQ, I mean, that was down quite a bit. We're in the green on that one. That one's our average price point is 51.13. And then on Robinhood here, I got a beautiful price. I waited patiently on that pullback there on Robinhood, and I got in at a price point there of, let's see. Yeah, I got about 1,000 shares of this right now. 950 shares of JEPQ on Robinhood. Average cost basis 49.03. And you can see there I'm up about 4% on that right now. But I that's one that I told you guys I'm holding on to now. I'm going to continue to hold on to that. It pays a large monthly dividend. We're already up $1,800 on it, 4% from continuously adding on that pullback. And then once we started climbing off those lows there, I sent out that newsletter. If you guys remember, I said, we got to buy. Now is the time to buy. And that was way back here. And we continued that breakout. And it was a beautiful ad, getting that cost basis down to, what did I say it was at? 49.03? Yeah, 49.03. And JEPQ right now is trading at 5109. And it's just entering into that breakout momentum cycle. 1020 crossover, moving average convergence, divergence crossover, trading above zero line on this gram of the MACD. Beautiful setup there on JEPQ. So I like JEPQ. I want to go over now. Let's see here. As I said, we took advantage of the markets there on the pullback. We got that climb happening now. We profited to the downside. I was cautious. I told you guys, I warned you guys literally on this day right here, February 21st. That was when I first started making the announcement that it looked like we are going to pull back there. And we continued with that pullback. We profited to the downside. I sold shares way back here before, when we were in the NTZ, no trade zone and consolidation, sold those JEPQ shares. And then I started adding back down here. So that was I feel like a master at adding and closing out when I did. I mean, I literally closed near highs and then I added near lows, 49. I mean, she came down to what? I think she came down to JEPQ. She came down to about $45 there. So I'm in at 49. I mean, I'm happy with that 49. She dips again, I'll definitely add to it on the pullback there. I mean, that's one that's actively managed by JP Morgan Chase, top 108 stocks in there that they sell covered calls on, brings in a large dividend on a monthly basis. It pays it about 10% plus a year. And then, we're just adding to that now on that pullback. So I think we got upside from here. Um, Let's go over now. Turbulence ahead for this week. We have Temu and Sheen that just announced that they're effective immediately. They're doing price increases across their sites. Tariffs. Trump doubled down on tariffs, said he's going through with the China tariffs. And what you don't understand is we didn't see that inflation. We didn't see those tariffs hit those shelves yet. May 28th, or was it May 27th? May 27th or May 28th. That's when those ports are going to be filled with those Chinese ships with those products that are then going to be tariffed. It takes about a week for them to go through there, get on the shelves, and then that's when that sticker shock is really going to hit. Think of like the first week of June. So I still think, there's going to be some fear in the market, especially when those tariffs hit. We might see a brief climb for now, especially if we get good earnings this week. We should see a nice breakout. That's why I kind of loaded up on Qs and tech stocks there that you saw that I've been trading. I think tech is going to continue that climb and continue that breakout, especially with tech earnings coming up this week. We saw some nice beats last week and looking pretty good there. So we got the tariffs there. Let's see. So that's what's going to cause that inflation coming up in June if there's no resolution there to those tariffs. Now, what I do want to go over with you guys are some of the top stocks that I see breaking out right now that are looking pretty good for some long positions. Number one was Tesla. Tesla had a massive pullback there, going from almost $500 a share all the way back down to about $210, $215 a share. Just starting to get that breakout. As you can see, when we were in that BDM cycle, 10 crossing below that 20, the MACD crossed below here. We were trading below the zero line on the histogram, the moving average convergence divergence. We pulled back, got up to that blue 20, made a lower high right here, continued to pull back. We got a little brief climb there, back up near that blue 20. Again, a lower high, pulled back, and then we finally consolidated right here. We have base support, as you can see, at that 214 on Tesla, and she's been holding that, and she's just breaking through that resistance right now. And I think this is one that could easily get a climb to that 325 to 350 pretty quick. So if you do the math on that, let's do it the lower end first. 325, divide that by current price of 284.95. That is a 14% climb on shares. So, if you're looking for a quick 15% gain on shares, that 325 is going to get you there. If you do that 350 range, 350, divide that by 284.95. That's going to give you about a 23% return. So, you get up towards that 350, you got about a 23% return on Tesla shares. What we did, we picked up TSLL. So this is a bullish Tesla ETF. It's a 2 times bull ETF on Tesla. Whatever Tesla does, this ETF is going to do twice as much. So I picked up some shares of that since I feel like Tesla's going to continue that breakout after that large pullback it had. So you can see right here, first off, Tesla was up, what, 9.8% on Friday, right? Now, if we look at TSLL, that was up almost 20% on Friday. So you can see what I mean about it does two times whatever Tesla's going to do, whatever Tesla does. So if I feel like Tesla's going to climb up to that 350 and have a 24% climb on Tesla shares, that means this would have a 48% climb. So that's why I jumped into TSLL shares. Also, TSLL, what's nice about this one here, let's take a look. TSLLX dividend. It also pays dividend, which is really nice. So if you take a look here, where are we? So as you can see right here, you're also on TSLL, a two times bull ETF on Tesla. It pays out a quarterly dividend, and you're getting a nice dividend there, between 8 and 13 cents there. And the dividend yield is about 3.87%. So that's a hell of a nice dividend that you're getting, almost a 4% divvy. And with Tesla just coming off those lows here, I think TSLL is a nice one to pick up there. Now, it is going to have that next dividend in June. So Tesla is going through with, you have to understand too why I like that TSLL. So in June, Tesla's going through with that Texas full self-drive, autonomous, meaning you don't even have to be sitting in the front seat of the driver's seat. You could be laying in the back seat of your car in a Tesla, and the FSD is going to drive you wherever you want to go. You do not have to sit in the driver's seat. So Texas is the first state that's going to be going through with that. That's happening in June. So with that positive catalyst there, and with Elon Musk coming back to the company and Tesla just seeing its lows there and consolidating, even though it had bad earnings, Tesla ripped higher here. So I think that's a positive sign and a positive catalyst for Tesla. If you wanted to pick up some Tesla shares or calls, I think that's good to go up to that 325 to 350. Otherwise, like I said, if you're looking for a larger return, you could go with that TSLL, which is going to pay you a dividend. And it's also, looking up towards that $15. So I think this could easily get up to that 15, make you almost that 48% return, 50% return on share appreciation. And then it also pays that 4% annual dividend on a quarterly basis. So I like TSLL there, especially if you like Tesla. I think this is a better alternative. They even have options on it. If you wanted to trade options on TSLL, here's the option chain right here. You could go out to that, let's say September Expo. You don't want to do something short term. You want to go out to that September Expo, pick up that 11 strike. The 11 strike's going for about $3. It's got a tight spread, 290 by 310. There's plenty of volume there, plenty of open interest, and that's a good one to pick up there. I really like this one. If you guys like Tesla, I'd love for you to check out the TSLL two times bull ETF on Tesla. Like I said, it pays a nice dividend, and it's going to do two times as much as whatever Tesla does. So keep that in mind. Okay, so next one, let's continue to go down here. MicroStrategy been continuing to climb, breaking out there with Bitcoin. I think this is an easy one to get back up to that 375 to that 400 range. MicroStrategy, it's the largest holder of Bitcoin, with Michael Saylor. Reddit, I love Reddit. I mean, look at Reddit. She came down to freaking what, $90 $80, 80 $79 a share after just being at $230. Talk about oversold there. I think this one's a nice breakout. You can see that BDM cycle right here. We were patient. We waited. Here was that 1020 cross below, the MACD cross below, started trading below the zero line on the histogram of the MACD. And then bam, you get that MACD cross, you got that 1020 cross. You're in the bomb cycle right now, which is the breakout momentum cycle. And you could be looking up towards that 150 as that next resistance. You'll see some short-term resistance at that 125. So 125 if you get a shorter term 3-month or less expo. If you get 3 to 6 months expo, I'd be targeting that 150 as a nice breakout there. So Reddit is looking great. We made a trade on Reddit. I think that's got some great upside potential. It just had that bottom there after that strong and steady BDM cycle. So there was that BDM cycle. We just followed it with the trade plan right there, and it's getting that bomb cycle right now. And I think we have some room to go on Reddit. So we picked up some of those Reddit calls. Let's see what else we got here. Palantir. One of my buddies, Jack, he asked me about Palantir. I think this is a great one to play. And speaking of AI, I want to go over some AI plays after I go over this with you guys because there's some really great AI trades that I want you guys to be looking at as a longer term investment opportunity. All right, so take a look. Palantir is definitely one of them. I think this is going to continue that breakout. It was in that BDM cycle. It held up pretty well, only pulling back about what 40% there from those highs, and then getting that breakout again, and it's quickly recovering, almost breaking out and making new highs here. So definitely a nice little reversal there on Palantir, and I love that. I love that breakout on Palantir. I think that's going to be one that's going to be hitting all-time highs again very soon, very shortly. Members in the trade room are asking about the markets continuing to pull back. They are continuing to pull back. We have the Dow down about 155 points right now. S&P 500 is down about 28, and the Nasdaq's down about 124. Like I said, those tariffs that Trump reiterated he's going through with, number one, those are playing a big role. Number two, we have major tech earnings this week. It's literally the Super Bowl of tech earnings. That's going to play a big role in where the markets head this week. So I want you guys to remember that. Play it cautiously this week. We have a lot of catalysts that we can't predict. Well, we could predict, them missing with the quarter that we've had, but you saw what Tesla did. Tesla had a massive miss, and she's breaking the heck out now. And a lot of these other companies, same thing. So we might have seen the low here, and it's going to play a big role on what these companies announce on their earnings conference calls this week, and we see, what their forecast is for the rest of the year. So that's going to play a major role. The tariffs are playing a major role, and then we have Powell coming up. He's going to be making the Fed decision, and then we got the tariffs. If none of that clears up, we got the tariffs that will be hitting and seeing that price reflection on the shelves by the first couple of weeks of June. And it's going to be mass hysteria if that goes through because it's going to be 145% increases that consumers would see on the shelves there, with all the products getting tariff there. And they're definitely, going to be passing those tariffs on to the consumer there. So I think that's a big reason why we're seeing the markets continue to pull back right now. Trump reiterating that. So I told members in the trade room here, if you take a look here, I was telling them here that the European markets open at 3 a.m. So right now we see the Dow futures that are down about 160. S&P is down about 28. Nasdaq's down about 124. Russell's down about 23. At 3 o'clock, all that's going to change there. If European markets open green, I would say that the U.S. markets would see a recovery and a bounce and a climb there. So 3 a.m. when the European markets open, it's going to be very important to see what they do. I think that's going to be the next move that we're going to be seeing in our futures. So if you guys are up at 3 a.m. and you want to see what's going on, that's going to be the next opportunity to see if the markets are going to continue that pullback and continue lower, throughout Monday there, or if we're going to get that rebound. 3 a.m. is an important number there, important time because that's when the European markets will be opening. So keep that in mind. Palantir looks great. Let's continue to go down the list here. Nvidia, solid climb there. Nice climb off of, what did she get down to? About 85 bucks at 111 now. It's just getting that MACD cross, the 1020 cross. I think that's, she should be seeing a nice breakout soon. And NVIDIA does look good. Our NVDY just paid that large dividend. We're green on our shares and looking great. Upstart, this is a great AI company here that does loans for banks and whatnot. 4868. I think this is going to be a great one there to buy for long term. I think you could have an easy double on this over the next 2 years. So keep Upstart on your watch list there. And that's definitely one that you could be adding to your long-term positions if you're looking for a good trade. Seagon got a nice climb back up to 2237. Beautiful company there. AbbVie, nice breakout there. It's just getting that MACD cross. Keep AbbVie on your watch list here because when this one sees some volume coming in, it's usually institutions. It's usually not retail traders trading AbbVie. So when the retail traders and institutions start coming in, this one will really take off there. So keep an eye on AbbVie. Micron was one of the top best picks I've seen in my research over over the last several hours. They were saying Micron is one of the top picks for the year here, and I like how she's getting a nice breakout here. I could easily see this one getting back up to 90 to about 110 short term. I think Micron is a good one that you could pick up some leaps on or buy some shares and hold on to shares of Micron. Coinbase, I mean, if Bitcoin, MicroStrategy continue to climb, Coinbase and Robinhood are going to continue to take off too. And Coinbase is just getting that 1020 crossover. They just announced the approval there of the XRP ETF, and XRP is up what like 5% there. Marvell is a great one. We got to be looking at Marvell this week. This is a great pickup here at this level. Robinhood looking good. She's got to break through that 50. Meta's not looking bad here. I mean, she didn't break out as much as the others here. She only climbed about 10% off that bottom there, as the other ones did about 15 to 20. But Meta does look pretty promising there if she could break above that 550. She's got earnings coming up this week. I think Zuckerberg's going to be announcing a few new products there that they're working on as far as AI. And then with the glasses there, they're coming out with some pretty major advancements with the glasses, that you really only see in the sci-fi movies there. Like literally the glasses that, you ask it and it'll type up something on your glass and it'll pull up a search engine and it'll do a search for you. I mean, it's pretty impressive stuff that I'm seeing coming out on that. CrowdStrike, that's a nice one right there. I think this one's going to continue to break out, and this one's almost near highs again. Not too bad there on CrowdStrike. I think that's going to be one that's going to continue that breakout. C3 AI, this is one that I think I'm going to be picking up. I like this trade setup here. The research I've done over the weekend here is saying this is going to be one of the ones to buy right now off this dip and look for a quick 100% gain there within about a year to year and a half. So 100% gain a year and a half, just owning the shares there. I'd be okay with that. AI is not going anywhere. It's in its infancy. Snapchat earnings this week. I love Snapchat after that pullback there. I think this is a solid 11 to $15 stock. It'll be bought out at one point, I think. AMD. This is another one here too. One of my buddies messaged me. He started getting AMDY. AMD is a solid setup here after this massive pullback from $230 a share all the way down to 75. I mean, talk about being oversold right there, going from 225 all the way down to 75. I think this is a solid setup right here. If you like AMD, you can pick up some AMD leaps. I'd be looking for the end of this year or even like a year or two out till expiration to play it safe. It's a nice stock replacement strategy. If you get something like 2 years out till expiration on AMD, that could pay off, 500% or more if you get up towards that 125 to 150 range again. You get up to that 150 range and you got a leap on AMD that expires in 2 years. At 150, you're going to be up 300 to 500% on that trade. So beautiful setup right there on AMD. And then, like I said, if you like AMD, you got to like AMDY. This is one that pays a massive monthly dividend. It's done the same thing as AMD. They have shares of AMD and then they sell covered calls against it. Sometimes they'll buy calls, they'll buy puts, depending on what the managers of that fund are doing. But if you take a look at AMDYX dividend, you can see it's paying out about 97.25% a year in dividends. So in just 1 year, you're collecting all your money back in just dividends. So here it is. It pays it on a monthly basis. It pays anywhere from 25 to 35 cents. It was paying, close to a dollar, over a dollar early on when AMD was really breaking out. So that's what I mean. If AMD starts getting that volume coming in and you start buying AMDY off this pullback right here at 699, I mean, if AMD gets that breakout, I mean, this is going to get back up towards that 1250, $10 to 1250, all on top of paying that large monthly dividend here that's yielding you about 100% annually. So, after the pullback now would be a good time, a good opportunity to jump in something like that. People were asking me before. I said, no, you got to wait until that BDM cycle is done. I think we're close to that end of the BDM cycle, and we're starting that breakout now. So I like AMD and I like AMDY. Seg, this is another one that I love here. A large breakdown from 350 all the way down to, what, 155, 160. Just starting to get that breakout. Just got that MACD cross, 1020 cross, trading above zero line and histogram of the MACD. She breaks through that 225 resistance here. She's going to be off and up back towards that 250 to about 275 there. So I like Constellation Energy. Axon looks good there. Broadcom looks great. NVDY, this is one that we've been picking up there. I'm in at like 13 something there, average cost basis. Beautiful entry on NVDY. You still have some time to jump in that for the longer term. BST, I love this one after that large pullback it had. I think this is a good opportunity for some longer term calls and leaps. Firm, once you can break through 50, I mean, a firm's solid. I think this is going to be back up towards $80 within a year and a half, 2 years, which, I mean, if you're getting 100% return on a year, year and a half, that's a great opportunity there with the firm. So that's one I'd be looking to add shares of. And once you get at least 100 shares, you could be selling some covered calls and collecting that premium on a monthly basis. They're selling covered calls against your shares. SMCI, that's got earnings coming up next week. 36.47. It looks like she wants to get that breakout. There's some volume starting to come in it. Google, I want to see that climb back above that red 50. She had a great earnings, a great announcement too, guidance. So I think that's going to get a breakout, but it does have a lawsuit coming up on May 8th, and that trial is going to be held in Europe there. No, that's not the Europe one. I think that's the US one here where it might have to break up its search engine and everything. So we'll see what happens with that. That's May 8th. Palo Alto's looking pretty darn good there. Target looks pretty good there too. Large dividend on Target. Amazon, I think Amazon's great long term, especially with their a car they just announced too. The cars that they just announced for under $20,000. They have a pickup truck, SUV, and a car for under 20 grand, an EV. So I think that's going to give us some momentum now as well. Under 20 grand. Salesforce, ARM Holdings was one that institutions are starting to pick up. I love Microsoft here. I mean, look at Microsoft. We got our first candle above that red 50-day simple moving average since going back to January. So that's a positive sign there. I think she's going to get back up to that 425 over the next few months. That's definitely one that you could be looking to buy some shares of. There's AMDY. QQQs. We picked this up on Friday. We're already up, what, 30% on that trade? That's looking incredible there. Nice breakout on this one here, and we're up 30% on our Q calls. I'd love to see a continued breakout with good tech earnings this week, and then lock in about 150, 200% or gain on our Q calls. So that's going to play an important role. We'll see how tech earnings are this week. We have Friday's expiration, and I expect Qs to do very well there and continue with that rebound. AMZY. If you like Amazon, this is the monthly dividend payer for Amazon. So after Amazon just finished that pullback there, if you like Amazon, that AMZY would be a nice one to pick up. JEPQ, just love that JEPQ. Large monthly dividend, great portfolio managers at JP Morgan Chase. PayPal's just getting that 1020 crossover. And then the other one I wanted to go over here is CoreWeave. I think this is a great opportunity to be picking up CoreWeave and looking for that larger breakout. I think this is a $100 stock. I think it's going to be there in about a year and a half. So that's about a, 120, 130% gain. She gets up towards that $100 a share. Once the market starts stabilizing there, you'll see that take off. All right, now here's the next section that I wanted to talk about here. First off, let me show you Netflix. I have that on my list here too. So they were saying that this is the most recession-proof stock to buy right now, that people are not going to cancel their Netflix if we go into a recession or see the markets continue to pull back. So she's at all-time highs now, continuing that large breakout on Netflix. So they're saying this is about going up to 1,300 to 1,400 analyst price target. So you got large upside potential there on Netflix. Alrighty, now I wanted to go over some new ETFs with you guys. Now that we saw a bottom in the market here, I think we have an opportunity for AI ETFs going forward for the next few years here. I have about four of them that I really like. Well, three of them here that I love. First one I want to go over is AIQ. This is the best of the breed here. I like this one. It pays a very nice dividend. If you take a look here, no, this one's not the one that pays a large dividend. It's a smaller dividend on this one. AIQ pays about a 0.15% dividend, which is not much. But this is one that they're saying is going to be back over $45 analyst price targets in the next 12 months. So she's at 36.77 now. So the analyst price targets are 45. So 45, divide that by 36.77. That is a 22.38% return there. That's not bad. And I like AI going forward. It's in its infancy. We just had a large pullback in the market, so I like that one there going forward. Next one that is a good AI ETF is bots. This one is a little bit more of a play on AI and robotics, which robotics that they're investing in are ones that are going to replace fast food employees with the fryers, the burger makers, and stuff like that. So bots, I think this is a nice ETF. If you look at their assets under management here too, um, AIQ, you got 2.7 billion assets under management. Bots, Global Robotics, and Artificial Intelligence ETF, you got 2.2 billion under management. Here's a nice robotics and automation ETF, ROBO. So if we take a look at that one, ROBO. Another one, just getting that 1020 crossover, MACD cross, trading above zero line on the scram of the MACD. That one had a larger pullback there. That one's looking great, ROBO. Let me put that one on my list here too. ROBO. Beautiful setup there on that one. Let's see what type of dividend that pays, if it pays any. ROBOX div. It pays a very small dividend. Very small dividend. 0.61. Little over 0.5%. I don't know what happened with all those dividends. Maybe it stopped paying it. That's a new ETF there that I was just looking at. But I love this ETF. It's got good assets under management, which is key. You want to see that volume in there. And that's something that you should always be looking at on a weekly basis there too. Make sure that AUM, assets under management, is continuing to grow. If you have any position and you see the AUM, assets under management, pulling back sharply, that's a sign to get the hell out there because there's something majorly wrong. So keep that in mind. So Robo, AIQ, bots, like I said, Robo and bots, they have a more of a play on robotics there. And then ARTY, this is another one here. This is an iShares ETF. It's AI and tech ETF here. Had highs there about 41.50, and she's at 32.47 right now. And ARTY, that one doesn't pay a large dividend. It's very small. What is it there? Yeah, it's about 0.6% annualized there. So not a large dividend. But this is one obviously with AI and robotics starting to take off now. Especially we got the freaking cars now that are going to be driving without a driver in the freaking seat, in the driver's seat in June in Texas. So I think that's going to continue to push Tesla. And then obviously their robotics there too that Tesla's making. I think that's going to be taking over quite a bit of the market. A lot of the AI plays are going to do very well. AI is just starting its infancy here, and I'm already seeing major advancements on back ends of some of the tasks that they're able to do and everything. I mean, there's literally AI agents that you could buy for about $500 a month that are going to go and cold call about 5,000 people for you, and they literally make the sales for you, your business. So the things I'm seeing coming out with that are incredible. So keep an eye on those AI ETFs. I think there's some nice ones out there. We could go over more of those throughout the week, but nice opportunities there. And that's going to do it for tonight's class. So the big things this week are going to be watching tech earnings, tariffs, any type of news on that. Also, I wanted to let you guys know I do have, see where it is here. So I do have access to literally everything. If you guys want in the morning, we could go over the top. Like I have access, I have subscriptions to the Wall Street Journal, Barron's, Market Watch, Investors Business Daily. I have access to all of them. So I have that. I also have the Bloomberg. I have Thomson Reuters. I have Benzinga. We got Bloomberg Terminal, Thomson Reuters there. So we got quite a bit. So if you guys want to go in there and look at any of these at any time throughout the day, I'm happy to do that with you guys. Just let me know. We have access to everything, but nothing beats the newswire. I mean, the newswire is your institutional newswire. You hear everything there first. But as far as looking at different perspectives, I think we could, use these to our advantage here, and we could even get some of their trade ideas that they're picking up on there, see if there's any of them there that we like. Wall Street Journal, Barron's, Market Watch, IBD, Investors Business Daily. Um, you know, so there's a lot there that we could be going through. But let's see what futures are doing. All right, so we're still kind of picking up there. We were down about 160 there about 20 minutes ago. We're down 136 now. Nasdaq down about 110. S&P down about 25. So we're kind of staying where we are. I think the next big move, like I said, is going to come around 3 a.m. and that's going to help guide us there for the rest of the week. And we got major tech earnings this week, so I can't stress it enough. We made some massive profits here over the past several months. You know, Hold on to those profits. Don't give it back to the market. We might be seeing some catalysts this week that could shift the markets and cause us to pull back. That's earnings, that's tariffs, and that's rate cuts. I mean, there's a lot going on this week, and then we have all the regular weekly government data that's going to be coming out, which is going to be in the newsletter. So keep an eye on that, and remember there just to play it safe and be cautious this week. There's lots of catalysts here that can move the markets big ways in either direction, and I want you guys to be prepared. So I think we're going to have that volatility here this week. It's going to be a great week for day trades and scalps. And then, of course, our long-term shares like JEPQ, I love that. And any type of pullback on that, I would definitely be adding to it. But I don't expect a large pullback there. I think tech's going to outperform the market this week. And I think we're going to have another great week. So I'm looking forward to the trading week. Hope everyone has a great night. Take care. God bless. And I will be sending this out in the newsletter shortly. So I'll see you guys on the Monday stream there, and I'll be sending out the newsletter there in the morning as well. So have a great night. Take care. God bless. And if you guys have any questions, please feel free to reach out and message me, and I'll be happy to get back to you. Take care. Have a great night. God bless, guys. Let's have a great week.